Well, hello and welcome to Studio B. Listen, we all do it. Some of us more than others. I am talking about gossip. But because I work with a lot of men, I wondered, men gossip too, don't they? Well, joining us is Judy Ryan. She's a trainer, a coach, a columnist, a consultant, and CEO of Lifework Systems. Judy, thank you for joining me in Studio B.
Thank you. I am very excited to be here.
Yes, you're number one. You're number one. Well, before we answer that question, let me say that I heard that Charles Brennan once drove all the way to Indianapolis to get his hair cut. I mean, the vanity of the man. That sounds like gossip to me. Does the perception remain that women do gossip more than men?
It is a perception, and it's not true. Men and women both gossip. They both gossip for the same reasons, but men tend to gossip a little bit differently, sort of in a general way. So I can speak a little bit to that.
Absolutely.
I think most men, they identify with their career and, that's who they are, is how successful and competent they are in their career. So they tend to gossip about things that are related to unfairness, about how they're being treated or their performance or someone else's performance. More work related. Women generally, and these are very big generalizations, really value relationships first and foremost, even if we're strong career women. And so when a woman gossips, it tends to be a little bit more what we think of as catty often, because a woman is thinking more in terms of the character of a person. So it feels a little bit more personalized when they do the gossip. Now, having said that, we also gossip according to what our highest priority values are.
Oh.
And those values are different for different people. So if it's more important to you that people are more free and fun, you might gossip about specific things related to that.
I see.
Or, if it's more important to you to, everybody should be fair and doing all the details right, that might be the source of what you complain about or gossip about.
So if you are really one who values raising your children, you're going to gossip about motherhood.
Right. Or you might criticize a person to someone else about the things that you feel are, in your book, wrong or right. But most of the time, we don't really realize how much we gossip. Gossip can even be things that we just shouldn't be saying in general, like talking about our salary with somebody when you know that you would never say that if the boss was present.
Or someone else's salary with
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So there's lots of subtleties to the whole gamut of what is gossip.
Generally, I think people think of gossip as untrue. We're spreading rumors.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's the case and sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's a very true thing to say, but the fact that it may not be useful or helpful or bring about any positive outcome is the thing to really be aware of.
So it is true that Charles Brennan drove all the way to Indianapolis to get his hair cut, but that is in no way helpful or uplifting to my life.
Right. And I wouldn't even know that would necessarily qualify as gossip. Most of us, when we're talking about gossip, are those things that we know are really degrading to another person.
Oh.
So that's what is rampant a lot of places and organizations and groups that I work with. They know that it shouldn't be happening. They know that it's destructive, but they don't necessarily know what they need to do to overcome it, to eliminate it, to drastically reduce it. So we come in and we actually put all of that out on the table with them.
So the sign to those of you who think, I don't gossip, you know you're gossiping when, guys?
When you wouldn't say it in front of the person that you're speaking about. That's a great rule of thumb. If you wouldn't say it directly to them, then you would consider it gossip if you were talking about them.
Do men look at each other? They look at women as gossips, and that diminishes our value to them, I would imagine. But men don't look at each other as gossips, or do they?
I think they do, because I've actually, since we talked, I've actually interviewed some of my clients and said, is this your perception? Oh, well, heck yeah, we gossip, So, and I've seen that myself. That's been my experience as well. So I think most men, there are a few that say that they believe women gossip much more than men, but I think it just shows up a little differently.
All right. So especially if you start the sentence with, I'm no gossip, but let me tell you this, clearly you are gossiping.
Right.
So I would imagine in the workplace, there are managers who feel like there's nothing much I can do about this.
Most of the time, that's true. They do believe that this is just a way of life. In fact, everybody believes that this is just kind of a thing you have to tolerate. What we do is we actually put it up on the table and we address it head on.
Okay.
And there's actually a lot of people that are very relieved when that happens. But the process of actually going through the behavior changes that need to happen can be very challenging. So Is it okay if I tell you one of those processes?
Yes.
So one of them is that we recommend what's called a mind trust. So a mind trust would look like this. Carol, I commit to you, and it's a face-to-face, one-on-one agreement. I commit to you that I will not talk about you behind your back.
Okay.
And that if I have an issue, I'm going to come directly to you with that issue. And if anybody comes to talk bad about you, I'm going to stop them and direct them back to you. Now, some people say, I can't do any of that. Some people say, I could do the first half, but I don't feel comfortable if somebody comes to gossip to me and to telling them to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So
and certainly to direct them back to the person.
Right. And some people say, I can commit to some people that I'll go directly to them, but other people I'm afraid to go to them. So really what that opens up is all of the areas in an organization or even family or school where people need to recognize where they don't have adequate trust, where they don't have adequate skills to go and be diplomatic in resolving issues. So that's a bigger issue that ends up
that is a deeper issue
resolved.
Because to have fear that I can't talk to a certain person is in no way productive.
Right, it's not. And as adults, we think we're supposed to know how, but most people haven't been given adequate training in how to do that, under all conditions.
This is so interesting. Okay, and I know you have some other, just a solution or two about how to deal with gossip.
Right. So
mind trust is one of them.
Right. So one of the things, there's 5 reasons that we talk about that people understandably want to gossip. It's because they want to feel empowered, lovable, connected, contributing, and that they believe that venting is just a necessary thing to do. Those are understandable. And the reason I call them understandable is because if we put so much criticism and judgment on this topic, people won't look at it and be tolerant of working through what they need to work through.
Okay.
So when we don't feel that we're empowered or we don't feel that we're lovable, or those are the things that put us in a discouraged state where we try to feel better by ripping on someone else. So
the old adage of I'm taller if I stand on you.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So one of the things that I want to say is that even though the mind trust says I'm not going to listen to somebody gossip, we don't want to leave people unsupported. So we teach a process for healthy venting. So what that looks like is, let's say you were to come to me and you were to, if we taught this as a community,
right,
everybody would be on the same page about, oh yeah, we made these mind trusts, or at least that's on the table, and we've got these healthy venting tools. So if you came to me and you wanted to gossip, I would say, or not gossip, to vent, and you say, Judy, I really need to vent, and I need help with this.
Okay.
You have time. I would say, I am more than happy to do that with you as long as you really are committed to resolving what's going on.
Key point.
Yes, because if you are not committed to resolving, it's just a way to dump a bunch of stuff out there, which is another form of gossip. So the guidelines are that you would say as much as you can without revealing the name or the circumstances. So you might say, I had this incident happen. It really hurt my feelings.
Right.
I'm very angry. So you share all your feelings. You don't get sidetracked into all the details. When we do that, we're actually just diverting from the resolution. It's a pseudo power.
Got it.
So if I can talk about all these details and get all worked up, it feels like I'm actually doing something.
But you're not. There's no resolution in that.
So it's pseudo power in that way.
So I have to agree that I'm going to move towards resolution.
Right.
All right. And I know you have more tips, and lifeworksystems.com
yes,
is
lifeworksystems.com.
your website, and we're going to take your tips and put them on our website, KMOX.com, because this is very real for a lot of us. And
it is.
It's not helpful to just dump
right
and have no resolution. So
yes.
we're about resolution.
Yes.
Okay. And I want to admit that Charles Brennan did not drive all the way to Indianapolis to get his hair cut. Okay. He does other things that are, kind of odd, but that's not one of them. Judy, thank you for coming in to Studio B.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great.